Hi everyone, welcome to Boomx Beauty Beat. My name is Laura. Yes, I am so sorry for being away. I've had one thing after another. I had another medical thing happen and my eyes were swollen shut and infections and things on my face from allergies. So it's been a heck of a couple of weeks. I just finished a round of antibiotics, so now we're good to go. My eyes are open again and I can actually shoot video. But yeah, there was a really long period of time, plus there was a heat wave that couldn't. But let's get going because we're going to show you how you can make your eyes look larger even though they're shrinking as we mature, which just happens. That's just something that happens. And they start to change shape and different parts get meatier and all kinds of things happen. So stay tuned for this. So yeah, as I started to approach 50, I noticed, coming closer, I noticed that my eyes started to shrink. And like this part, you guys can see, like I had a little bit of a bump there still. This was just all infected and this was all infected. So you might see a little bit of rough skin there. I apologize for that, but it will be cleared up probably within the next week or so. But yeah, it was pretty ugly and brutal and embarrassing. So there was no way I was going on camera. But needless to say, when we age, this eye of ours starts to change, especially the lid and the edges, and we start to get puffier and it starts to downturn and shrink. And so we have to like come up with strategic, sneaky, combative ways in order to make your eyes look larger and still stand out without looking overly like too made up or whatever. So I'm going to show you some techniques today that might help you. Well, they will help you in combating some of that. So I'm going to start with the first one, which is this. Stay tuned. All right, so a lot of this is illusion, so you need to keep that in mind when we're working here. So the first thing I'm going to do is show you kind of how to give yourself a lift. So you can see here on my eyebrow there's a little bit of muddiness on the edge, and that in actuality drags you down. So the first thing we're going to do with combating our eyes looking smaller is we want to give an illusion of a lift in our brow arch area, and I'm taking kind of a straight flat brush. This can be used, you know, around your eyebrow area. It has an eyebrow brush on the back side of this. This is with Anastasia. It's kind of a good brush. I like it. So I'm just going to get my mirror here and show you. So when you've got that, the difference that is made in your eye lift is pretty substantial. So I'm just taking a little bit up onto my hand here, and I'm just going to lift by putting a touch of concealer underneath and shaping a little bit of this undercarriage. Can you guys see what I'm doing there? And that will help to combat a bit of the droopy eye effect. And you can arch your eyebrow on the top if you want to, sharpen that a little bit, and then we'll blend it out. But this little bit here gives your eye a lift, which also gives you in turn illusion of having a little bit more lid space. So keep that in mind when you're working. It's super helpful. I'm just going to take a clean, oh, that one's a little bit frayed. Let's take a flat brush. We'll take a flat brush like this, and I'm just going to take a clean brush and move it along and blend out the detail of that, and then I'll show you the difference onto the other side. So we're just going to work this one eye so you guys can see the illusion in its maturity here. And all I've done so far is put full eye makeup on, as far as like foundation, concealer, and some mascara. That's it, so that you can see the difference between just doing that basic thing and taking the few extra steps that we're going to take. And then up on top you can just blend this out a little bit. Okay, so step one is to arch your brow, and if you need, to punctuate this part here, you could just simply take a little bit of dark eyeshadow. I'll show you what to do. So I'm just pulling up a little bit of brown eyeshadow, and I'm just going to take a slightly sharper brush, a little pointier. Sorry if you hear the birds outside. And I'm just going to punch up the arch just a little bit, and by doing that lift, you'll give your eyes, just, you could see it here, just a little bit more of the illusion of being lifted. And it's just minor, right? But it makes such a big difference in the shape of your eye. All right, let's move on to the next step. All right, I'm just using this kind of shape brush here, if you can see it. It's got a little bit of a point to it. This is just a simple Morphe brush, you guys. And basically, I'm going to take cream eyeshadow. You can get cream eyeshadows with Boom X Beauty Beat and lots of other lines. I'm just going to take up the brown. And the brown is really good because the tones of brown match with our skin, so it's not going to stand out too much, but it will give us an illusion. So what I'm doing is, even though I've got that little bit of a bump there still, I'm just going to bulldoze over it. So what I'm going to do at the edge of my eye to try to open it is I'm going to take this, if you guys can see, I'm going to close a little bit and do a bit of a lift triangularly here, and basically sketch out a shape that's going to give me more lid space and pop your eye open. So it's going to be very, very simple, this eyeshadow look, but very strategic in placement. And then, you know, you could take this bit of cream eyeshadow and work it around a bit and make it more cohesive and blended just by going over it slightly. You don't have to keep dipping into the brown or anything like that. And then you could take a clean brush once you get that sort of shaped into a bit of a lift. You could take a clean brush and then smudge out the edges, and I'll show you that. So even just a softly rounded pencil brush like this, you can take it and just work the edge a little bit out so that it's nice and blended and doesn't look so contrived. Blend that out. And now we're getting a lift because our eyes will get smaller and they will kind of go a little bit downturned as we age. And it really does amazing things for building our eye shape. I'll just look forward so you guys can see the difference of how that lifts that chunk of skin that likes to kind of overhang as we age. But you don't want to leave the cream all by itself. You want to definitely solidify that with a bit of powder, and I'll show you how to do that. Alright, this is one of the palettes in the Boom X Beauty line. I'm going to go into the brown, as you guys can see again. Now, I don't need to go as sharp. I'm going to take this pencil brush that's a little fluffier and reuse it. I'm dabbling off the excess onto my hand so I don't have too much on there. And I'm just going to over sketch what was done just with that little bit of brown eyeshadow, and it gets a little bit like thinner as you get in here and a little thicker on the outside like that. And make sure there's no skipping or skid marks as you work. Okay, and then once you kind of have that shape, then you could go in there with something a bit fluffier like this. Just a second, let me grab a little bit better brush. Sorry about that. I just wanted to grab something a little fluffier, so I'm grabbing a fluffy brush from the Boom X line. And we're just going to grab, you can grab anything neutral in these tones here. This is a good one here. Beside the brown, this one here, it's like a taupe. And what you're doing is you're just coordinating a bit of a blend into this shadow here so that it softens the edges just a tiny bit. And it kind of still has punch, but not so much that it's looking like you drew it on. So we're just taking that up. You can take and swish it around so it's kind of in the brush better. And it gives you an illusion. And this is trying to make it look like very neutral without too many colors of eyeshadow. I'm just trying to show you what that can look like, all right? All right, going back to this flat brush that we had before, I'm going to go get a little bit more concealer. Again, it's from the Boom X line, but any concealer will work, you guys. And then what you're going to do now is correct the sharpness of the edge of this. Can you see what I'm doing here? I'm just correcting this because this muddied will drag your eye down on the edge. So we're just going to correct that so that it's nice and crisp. And then you can always take your sponge and like blend that out, or you can use a brush, whatever you prefer. It's totally fine. Whichever you use, like a little flat brush like this can work too, and you can just sort of like go over it and just smooth that out so it doesn't look too contrived. And it's already, you can see it's giving that lift. Now we've got an interesting couple more steps. So now what I want you to do is really take a bit more of this and put it really closely into this corner part here, because I'm going to show you this trick. So right near the lash line. And that's going to cancel the end downturn that we get. And that's an illusion that we've just created. Okay, so step 4 to this process is go back into that brown, creamy product. And what you're going to do is you're not going to put the eyeliner right under. You're going to put it from the middle out and sort, not down too low, just a tiny bit open-ended. Marilyn Monroe used to do this too with her look, so it's kind of neat to relive it. And then you're going to wiggle this across. You could take this almost all the way. Okay, so we're leaving that sort of open and out. Okay, and then you can go back into that brown powder that we had before, and you want to seal that up because you don't want to ever leave a cream eyeshadow unsealed because it will move around. So what you're going to do now, sorry about the hair there you guys, I'll move that over, is you're going to take any kind of like brush with a bit of an edge to it. It doesn't have to be super pointy. And you're going to seal that up by going straight across like this. It's an illusion, right? So you don't want to go so far that it looks super obvious. If you happen to muddy the water a little bit in the middle of this, you can always go back in with your brush and your bit of concealer and keep this open in the middle here. Keep this open. All right, so we're starting to get there, but there's a couple more steps ahead, okay? So hang in, it's coming. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna anchor that down and lift up the end of the eyeliner. You could just take a little bit of black and brown mixed together or straight black, depending on your coloring and your eye shape and all of that. You can decide what's gonna work best for you for punch. If you wanna go softer, that's fine. I'm just taking a little bit up with a touch of water on the tip. And what that does is it makes a paste like this. I'll do it on the back of my hand so you can see it better. So it's like a little bit of dip of water on my brush and a bit of black brown together, okay? And you have a paste going. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take that and just give yourself a wide angled liner that lifts smudgy and up on the top, but make sure that it's nice and crisp on the lower edge of it here so that it looks like a nice lift. And if you've got a little bit of lines and wrinkles in there, just wiggle back and forth to maneuver it all in together and it should be fine. So now we're getting there. I'm just going to smudge this across a little more so it doesn't look too... If you want to punch this up a little bit, you can. Just a little, just trying to keep it nice and tight and mindful. But so now we're getting that open-ended crispness. And again, if you're noticing anything getting muddy at all, you can always go back in with that concealer brush and clean up your lines. Clean up your lines. Keep cleaning them. So now we have this weird little eye illusion happening. We got one final step and I'll show you what that does to the eye. So I'm not really looking to do a super like dramatic look. I want this to look fairly, you know, blended and neutral and not look like, you know, really made up. But I am going to play with some lashes. Now these lashes, you guys can see on the ends of them, are pretty long. And this is one of the lashes I carry in the line. So when that happens to me and it's not quite what I'm going for, is what I'd like to do is take it and I wiggle back and forth on the band so that it's got nice pliability and movement like this. And then what I'm going to do is just trim off 1/4 of the end. And I'm going to keep the shorter side and I'll show you how I place that. So I'll just show you guys the cutting. So I just have my little scissors here and I'm just taking the lash on the end and there's about 1/4 of it taken. Like that. Okay. And now it's a lot more friendly for the eye. And then I'll show you, placement's really important for this. So let me just get the glue. This is the this is just the Kiss Lash Glue, which I've been really enjoying lately. I like to play with different lash glues because they all have an interesting twist and turn. And then I'm just going to put the lash glue across the lash. So you can take any full-size lash, or you could take a partial lash, like a half lash. This would work perfectly for a half lash look. So the strategy behind this, you want to give this a second to kind of like get the glue tacky. You can blow or whatever you need to do. And then when you place it down, you could use tools or you can use your fingers, whatever you like to do. When you place it, you want to lift. This inner part's going to touch the inner corner, but this outer part you want lifted. So before you've completely determined if you like how that looks, that's a little far out for me. I'm just going to pull it in a little. Oops. I got it stuck to my fingers. Happens. Don't worry about it. Just pull it off, touch the tip. These are lash foibles. So if you don't have a tool, it's still doable. And lifting the edge up higher. So this part here, I'm tipping up with my finger. I'm sort of twisting it up. And then I'm just making sure that this inner corner is pushed in and touching to give the lift. And then I just give that a minute to dry. And I like to actually marry them together with a bit of mascara so that they kind of become friends, my lashes and the lash that I'm putting on. And you don't feel the lash as much because it's cut and it doesn't feel like it's attaching to the inner corner as heavily. So you won't feel them as much when you cut them, which is really nice. And you could see, like by looking ahead, how much that's lifting up the outer corner of the eye and how much I'm able to like maneuver this meatiness of my eye. It almost disappears, which is pretty amazing. So let me just grab a couple more things and then we'll wrap this up. Alright, so as I was mentioning, you guys can grab a little bit of mascara, and these lashes I understand are not for everybody. You can get really a lot shorter if you want to. I just, you know, I can handle ones these big. So what I do is I just put a little bit of mascara on them so that they have a chance to kind of marry together. And if you need to, you can also take a lash curler and squeeze them together if that's needed. Like, it just depends on how well they're kind of marrying together. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do the other side, but I just want you guys to take a look real close. I'm going to put the mirror in front of me too, just to see the difference of the lift of the eye and how much Zazu you get just with that little bit. All I did was use concealer and brown. Like, that's it. No colors, no sparkle, nothing. All we're doing is shaping and shaping the brow a little bit better, and it picks up the eye so much. So keep these tricks in mind, and I hope it's been helpful. I'll come back with the final say and I'll finish the other side. All right, you guys, so key takeaways. Just remember these few things. So outlining the undercarriage of your brow, and sometimes over is good. Reinforcing the arch of your eyebrow here. Making sure that you've created a shape in your eye crease area that's a triangle that's lifted. Keeping that open space in between. Using browns to kind of like manipulate shape, because you know, the basis of our skin has, all of us have some brown in us, so we can manipulate the shapes of our eyes and our face. You know, I don't have any overly harsh anything. You guys can see it's kind of like fairly soft. I don't even have any colors. I don't have anything. Using a cream and then solidifying it with powder, like a brown eyeshadow and whatnot. Using a variety of brushes from pointy tip to flat tip to make sure that you can get concealer in the right places and the right shapes. And with that quick 5 minutes, I was able to like completely, you know, reshape my eye out. And obviously the lashes, depending, it doesn't have to be as long as mine, you could use shorter ones. But tipping the end out and up and a slight extension there is very strategic and helps to give you like a lift. So all of these things can be done so that our eyes, as they shrink, as we mature, it's gonna happen, it's fine. We can use these little illusions in order to get us on our way. And even if you just have small eyes, or if you just want to see what these little techniques can do for your eyes, I mean, if it's good enough for Marilyn Monroe's makeup artist, we should be trying it too. So guys, give this a try. Let me know what you think and your thoughts below. And it's so good to be on camera again. I missed it. And I got just huge things coming up to announce to you guys that I've been working on in my downtime. So I can't wait to announce those. They'll be coming up in the next couple videos. You'll hear about them. I'm going to be offering you guys a course on my transformation and how to transform yourself, not only externally but internally, and I will be launching another channel for that. I'm also launching another channel for BoomX Beauty Pro. So if you want to learn how to transform others and you want to get certified as a makeup artist, you'll be able to do that too. So I can't wait to show you guys all that I'm developing, but not quite yet, just about. Give it another maybe a week or so. Okay, we'll see you guys real soon. I hope that's been good. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more these crazy amazing tips that can change how you look and feel about yourself. Bye for now. Don't forget, everything is wonderful as we age. We're just getting better, more seasoned, cuter, hotter, more mature. Yes, but who cares? This is our time. This is our time to shine. See you guys soon. Bye.